Hi, everybody. This is Holland Martin for the Never Die podcast. Thanks for joining me today. Today, I have 2008 Marion High School graduate, Kyren Monteiro. Kyren, thanks for joining me today.
Hey man, appreciate you for having me, man.
You tell us about your business and things. I see some musical instruments behind you.
Yeah, man. I'm here downtown in my studio, Frequency Canvas, and that's the name of the business, Frequency Canvas LLC. Um, this this Frequency Canvas is an audio company that has a high end recording studio uh, that the company owns, that people can come to for audio engineering services and music production. But we also just offer services. We offer podcast services. We offer engineering services like mixing and mastering, post production services. So people don't necessarily have to physically come here to be able to hire the studio for services. So I've worked with people all over the country. I've worked with Grammy Award winning artists. I've been a part of records that's charted on Billboard charts, and that's been from different people all over the country. So we downtown here in Marion, Indiana, trying to be a part of a new wave of black excellence. You know what I mean?
Uh, so that's good. So if I shoot a home video on my Canon 70D and I really don't have the editing equipment, I could flash drive it or email it to you, and you could make some stuff happen with it.
For the audio part, yes, we don't offer visuals. I mean, I do know people who can do those kind of services, but Frequency Canvas specifically deals with audio production and music production,
Yes.
specifically. So,
Good, great. Now, how is business coming along as you get your feet down there downtown on the square?
so I have been engineering. So Frequency Canvas was created in 2019,
Hmm.
but prior to the first quarter in 2009, prior to January 2019,
Hmm.
everything was under my record label, Engage Records
Yeah.
LLC, which is another business that I own.
Hmm.
And so I decided at the top of 2019 that it would be better to break off and just have an entire company and brand, just so all audio things can fall under its own company. But
Yeah.
prior to that, I had a set up just in my house, just a spare one of the bedrooms. We converted it into a studio,
Hmm.
and 90% of my business has always been out of state.
Okay.
So it's been almost a year. April 23rd last year was the grand opening.
Hmm.
But yeah, April 23rd, either April 21st or 23rd. I believe it was April 23rd,
Coming
and
on a year. Coming up to
coming
a
on a
year.
year. And man, it's just been like every business, man. It's just been a wave.
Yes.
We're from Marion, Indiana. So really, the only city that really thrives for recording studios really is Indianapolis or Fort Wayne.
Hmm.
And even in Fort Wayne, some of their studios have shut down,
Hmm.
because so many people have home studios now.
Yes.
And so where we're from is known for basketball.
Hmm.
This is not known for music or entertainment. And so
No.
the struggle is that the struggle is just people think that services cost too much.
Yes.
People aren't used to having professional music services around here. But
Hmm.
let's be real, when it comes to Marion, that's just a challenge for a lot of startup businesses and a
Yeah.
lot of small black businesses, is that people don't want to pay for stuff. I
That's true.
thought it was just, in music, and just some things that's happening with me personally, but
Hmm.
because people like to hate, man. But honestly, it's different industries and it's different businesses, and so
And
I think if Marion wants to grow, it has to be willing to stimulate the local economy.
yes, and I'm glad you touched on that because I've seen other interviews and that out in pop culture. Uh, when it comes to your friends or the people in the community, give me the homie discount, give me the low, whether it be a haircut, whether it be whatever. But now, if you go across the tracks to the other boutiques and the other shops, you're not asking them to give you no homie discount. You paying the price that they put out there. You know what I mean? And I think kind of in our uh, community, maybe some of the things you might be intimating, we don't we look for the discount in our community, but if such and such over there, they go the full. You know what I mean?
For me, man, what I think when it comes to Marion, honestly, I think that At least for my business, like my lane. And there's other studios around Marion. Frequency Canvas is the first high-end recording studio in Marion. It's also the first black-owned high-end. So I've been the first on just in general, and then in black-owned businesses. But for me, I think like people think I charge too much. But if you ask, it's not because the services isn't worth it, right? So if you look at my resume and say, do I have the resume and the credits? Check. Do I have the experience and the knowledge? Check. Is the quality of services and the product worth it? Check, right? So do I have the gear to demand that and in a prime location? Check. So it's like, okay, don't you have all of the areas? What's the problem? The problem is that these cats ain't making money off their music, right? So like when it comes to streaming platforms, people are only making cents on the streams. So if an artist releases a song on Spotify, say they get 50,000 plays, that's like roughly around $300 only. So if they come to me and I'm demanding $300 to $500 a song, they're like, man, I'm not gonna even get 50,000 plays. You see what I'm saying?
Monetary.
Yeah. So they're like, hey, so basically it's like, since I'm not making that much money, lower your rate, so I'm not gonna come mess with you. And it's like, nah, you don't ask Michael Jordan to lower his rates of his shoes. You don't when you go get the drip, right? You don't ask the jeweler to lower their rates. Maybe you do, but Finish Line ain't lowering their rates. The barbershops ain't lowering their rates. These clothing stores ain't lowering their rates. When you out here gluttoning at these restaurants, they ain't lowering their rates. So you come to me and want me to lower my rates? Nah. Now I'll negotiate rates. There's never been a local artist where I've been like, here's my full rate, pay it or else. I've never done that, but I'll negotiate, but I won't be. I'm trying to think of the most centered way to say this. I won't be plugged in the anal so that you can benefit. I won't be taken advantage of. I will negotiate. I am willing to compromise, but I'm not willing to be taken advantage of. Can't do that. Right. There's a threshold that I know. I know what my rates are, and then there's a threshold where it's like, yeah, I'm not going that low, And
like I said, it's tough to do business in your own community, but like you said, a lot of businesses outside of the state and things of that nature are all over the country, which is good. Have you done any marketing? Has very many. I did see an article in the local paper a month or so ago. Have any media outlets, newspapers, magazines contacted you for any publications?
So I've done, obviously, you got social media promo. So I've done stuff with Rashard, Channel 27. Shout out to what they got going on. I know you were part of that as well. I've done obviously in the last year, I've done a couple of articles in the Chronicle. The one you're talking about, I just had the front page at the end of Black History Month. I just had the front page about a digital distribution company I just launched. And then on the back of the main section, I had a full splash page of Frequency Canvas about the studio service. So I've done that. I've done podcasts, great podcasts like the Never Die podcast. And just word of mouth, really, man. I mean, Marion really ain't too hard to get the word out. I mean, there's only 30,000 people that live here, so.
Talk about stuff that's bad. We can definitely use those folks to talk about some stuff that's good.
Hey, man, that's yeah, for sure. And we need more people doing it. We need more platforms.
I feel that way. As someone was saying, competition. There's another couple of sports things out here. But there ain't no competition with me because actually we can all work together. I want to go on some of those other guys' platforms here locally and then have them on mine as well. And I think I'm working to get that working. There's a couple of guys on the, I think you went to high school with when Joe Luce played. a couple of guys on that basketball team that I want to interview. Maybe I can go on their platform and other things like that. There's a conglomerate, and it's not just a minority. There's a conglomerate of young, youthful, 35 and unders making things go, as opposed to so years ago, Marion had a bunch of factories and things. Now those factories are left. We're not making anything. We're just logistically holding things, distribution centers like Dollar General, Dunham's, Walmart, things like that. I think so. Now there's a different way of getting money here. And then when the pandemic hit, there's a lot of at-home people working from home from their computer and finding ways to generate money from there. I think we need to find that next wave of where we can generate money, be it from computers, at home, different stuff like that, even affiliate marketing, as far as maybe you could market with commercials and things like that, frequency canvas, to other outlets. So there's a different way.
Yeah, for myself, honestly, this is no disrespect to the great city of Marion, Indiana. I'm from here. This is where I'm from. I'm proud. But several things. First off, when it comes to frequency canvas and like the local arts here, I don't foresee Marion becoming a professional music scene. Even though I've set up shop downtown, it was bigger than music. It was about contributing to the local arts, trying to set a standard of professionalism in music, because there hasn't been one identified, in my opinion. I think you have some individuals, but I don't think you have just a standard in the city. Number two, but there are dope things going on in the arts here. There are great things that can be done. I just don't see us becoming like a mini Atlanta or Memphis. You know what I'm saying?
There would be some pushback as far as the people that actually pull the strings in the community. I don't think they would. They might. It might be. Hey, this might be things out here just for the taking. I mean, we're not going to ask you. We're going to go ahead and do forward thinking, because there's still that old Marion mentality. You know what I mean?
RCA is never coming back. You know what I'm saying? And this is why I think Ronnie is going to be good as a mayor, because it's going to make innovation mandatory, right? If he becomes mayor, or I should say when he becomes mayor, he won't even be 30, or he'll just be hitting 30. First black mayor in the city around 30.
Innovation and bring new things that'll generate money in Grant County. I think it's time for the youthful minds to take control. Everything ticks up. Grandma and grandpa then fall off, mama and daddy move up, and you move up. And then, it's like that. But now it's time for that 30-year-old age group to take control for the next 25, 30 years.
Yeah, I think our age group is really the deciding factor in the future. Rather we move forward, or rather we slide back into a slippery slope. Yeah, I feel like if my generation does not take over, 3 to 5 generations behind us will suffer. And I'm talking nationally. I like if we don't forget waiting until we get older, like no, right now. And that's part of the reason I'm sitting down here downtown right now. It's like, I'll be honest, I've always wanted to get out of here because my resume is outside of here. I don't live in a community where what I do can prosper at a high level. But it's just like, while I'm here, I'm not about to talk about what I'm going to do when I'm in Atlanta or LA. No, I'm going to do it right now. And then when I get there or these other places, we'll see what happens. But I'm not a guy, I don't like sitting on the sidelines. You know what I'm saying?
There's a dearth of local talent, not just in the rap scene. There's a lot in the R&B scene, and also in the, I don't want to say what the bohemian scene, rockers and people that go from these little pubs and do bands and stuff. There's a lot of talent in Grant County. No one has reached out to you. None of the local rappers, none of the other people that do different things.
I've worked with some of the local rappers. Problem with local rappers that local rappers don't want to invest into themselves, right? So hip hop / rap is the biggest genre of all time. It's the highest selling, it's the most profitable genre of all time. And it's crazy they said that we wouldn't last. When it first came out, they said it was a fad and said we wouldn't last. And here we are. Here we are. Legends, billionaires, running culture, because that's what we do, right? But hip-hop has become oversaturated. So now you got people recording stuff on their phones. Now you got people going on YouTube and stealing beats. So hip-hop has become the biggest genre, but since it's the most oversaturated, it's the most accessible. And it's the cheapest genre really to produce. And so now it doesn't take much money for somebody to quote-unquote be a rapper in the sense of getting music on iTunes, Spotify, and all of that. So since it's so oversaturated, it's flooded with a whole lot of cheapskates who are hobbyists. Now, it's a difference if people don't have the money. If you don't have the money but you have the work ethic and potential and the talent, I can come alongside you. But most of the time, these guys don't want to invest. They don't want to work. That's a terrible combination.
You gotta be forward thinking. You gotta give a little bit to get that thing going. You know.
You know, it's funny. You know, a lot of cats, they want me to discount or want me to give them free services. You come sit in a $50,000 room, but yet you want me to give you free services. Where did this equipment come from? Where did that microphone right there come from that's almost $2,000? This microphone that was almost $2,000. Where did all of this stuff come from?
The bills that run the machines need paid for, you know.
Not only that, but all of the time, man. It's a lot of sacrifice. You know how many nights I had to stay away from my wife years ago to grind and get my ears and my skill set to a certain level? Even now, you know what I'm saying? There's times where right now I'm making money and now I'm still in here getting better. I'm still in here working. Where's your drive at? Where's your passion? Where's your focus on the vision? You know what I mean?
Crap, that dream sometimes, and it still may not get off the ground, but you still have to live the dream that no one believes but you. You know what I mean?
I approach music athletically. Two of my favorite figures to study is Michael Jordan and the late great Kobe Bean Bryant. I actually made a song off my album Broken called Kobe Bean. But I love Kobe. I love just that drive that no matter what, I'm never going to give up. That brother had injuries. He had legal cases. He had haters. He had team issues. I mean, just so many things. I've been through that. I've had legal issues that still haunt me to this day. I've had people throw salt on my name and write me off and give up on me. I've had people gossip about me and do all kind of things. And it's like, yo, I'm still here. And not only am I still here, but we still here in glories. And we still making history, and we still going to continue to elevate and rise above that. You know what I'm saying? Till I take my last breath, I'm a fighter. You feel what I'm saying? So my tombstone and legacy is gonna be known as perseverance. As somebody that through it all had that Mamba mentality like Kobe. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I really want to do for the next generation is inspire them, but not just the next generation, but my generation right now. You know, we focus on the next generation, but we doing it right now. You cannot have a future. You can't have a future if the right now isn't making preparation for that. You see what I'm saying?
Preparation and a little luck, a little help, a lot of hard work. You know what I mean? A lot of people think that stuff just comes natural. You know, it don't. You know, around a lot of kids. I remember one kid told me back in the day, I want a big house, I want an Escalade. And they said, well, I can't wait to drop out of school. I'm like, hold on, bro, it don't act like it. It don't even work like that. You can't drop out of school at 16 and expect to get the things, you know, that you think that you actually need, you know.
Well, it starts at home. I wouldn't be here if my pops didn't pour into me. I don't know if you knew my pops, but the late great Elder Grady Speed. What?
I think Mario was younger than me and Grady was a little older.
Yeah. So Mario is my uncle. Shout out to my uncle Mario, man. Mario Speed, D&D Car Wash.
Okay, right on.
Yeah. So yeah, Grady was my father. So he was a preacher and he was a rapper. So Christian hip hop and hip hop, he instilled that into me, spirituality and all of that. So without my pops, I wouldn't be sitting in this room talking to you right now. That's a fact.
The inspiration to do this and make it a career.
Yeah. No, that's a fact, man. So shout out, salute to Elder Grady Speed, man. One of the greatest to do it, in my opinion, man.
Now, you talked about that Kobe Bean. Now, I took that Broken album to the lab on YouTube, man. Hey, you got to Keep My Distance. I'm loving that song. Back Up. That's a blessing. Be Okay. Talk about your style of music, your genre of music, and your style. I love it.
Yeah, so as a hip hop artist, I go by Kyren Monteiro. Years ago, I was formerly known as The Messenger, D-A, like duh, and then Messenger. And so it's been historically labeled as Christian hip hop or gospel rap. And I have no problems with those terms, but man, I'm hip hop at the end of the day.
And not curse. I think people have a false idea of thinking, I got to be the bleepity bleep this, bleepity bleep that, and it's, for me, hip hop is beat. I can rock to the beat and move my body and not hear all the cuss words. Actually, for me personally, I love hearing hip hop instrumentals. Without it, I got my own rap up in my head. I don't need all the MF bleepity bleep blappity black. So, but I think people get hip hop is strewn with curse words and depravity and shaking this and smoking that and selling this, and it doesn't mean that all the time.
Nah, it doesn't, man. So that album that you're talking, so I'll just go back and I'll come up just quickly. So, like I said, my father, the late great Elder Grady Speed, was a preacher and a hip hop artist, and he would take his sermons and hip hop and poetry and combine those things together. Back in the night, he did it since the 70s, 80s, but back in the 90s, obviously I was born in the 90s, so that's when I seen it. And so, my dad was my superhero growing up. I feel like, every kid's superhero is their parents in a kind of way, because or whoever raised you, because you see that. And so I wanted to be just like him. So I started playing drums and rapping around the same time. And then, I just did it for fun and would see him making beats and would see him putting together songs, and he had no intention of doing it as a career. So for him, it was a hobby. But as I started to get older, especially middle school, 8th and 9th grade, he started to really see, like, I played drums at church, since like 5, 6 years old, and I was head of drumline and all of that. But I started, and I always rap for fun. We would have battle raps in the cafeteria, and I put out little demos and stuff like that. But as far as being serious, like, once I got to high school, he started seeing, like, yo, Kai is about to take this a lot serious. Once I got in high school, once I was like 15, like around 04, 05, I was 14, 15. And, I really started to open up for bigger names in Christian hip hop, rapping at the youth groups around here, rapping at my church. Passing out little demo CDs in the high school, and people had a response to it. And, like, there was other guys around here doing Christian rap in my age group and a little older than me. No disrespect to none of them guys, but the representation of Christian. My dad was the only cat that made Christian hip hop look cool. All the other cats was kind of corny. It was corny. My dude Corey Boyd, formerly known as C Knight, he's known as valedictorian now. But I looked up to Corey a lot in the Christian hip-hop space. He was at Ball State, and he released his album called From the Grime to the Glory. And I was like, man, Christian rappers from Marion can release CDs? Like, I was like, what? And so, that kind of inspired me at a young age. And cats like C-Mob came out with his debut album back in like my sophomore year of high school. I seen Rashard Tyson, who was formerly known as Daddy Rich. He dropped like 2 CDs back in the day. He used to have the pictures on the van.
That double CD is one of
Double
the
CDs.
That green CD from the double CD of Daddy Rich is an instant classic. Is You Ma and the interlude after that, ain't a better song around there. Shout out to Daddy Rich, that's one of my dogs. But
yeah, man, shout out. And Rashard was under my pops. You know what I'm saying? My pops poured into Rashard. And in that age group, OJ, Rashard, a lot of them guys around here, my dad poured into them.
That whole era, it was nice. Ari Dub, Rich Harvest with Too Cold. It was a lot. The late great Terry Hayes.
Yep.
Great group of rappers in here, not necessarily all Christian. None of those guys were Christian, but there was a lot going on in that time.
Ashley Smith, aka A Sharp, was a huge inspiration coming up, because he did more than just rap. He made beats and engineered, and so he kind of was doing what I do back then in a way, I tell you
what, that White Bronco music album from OJ, classic.
OJ is a local legend, man.
Like I said, I took that Broken album of Yours to the Lab. I'm telling you, bro, you got some. I wonder how it sounds. A lot of that stuff sounds contemporary and professional now. Like, have you shopped those things out? I mean, it seems like the right person find it. I mean, you'll be on. It sounds that.
I mean, so I'll say this. So high school, I started taking things more serious. I demoed. People started going crazy. People was like, I think I was really the first in Marion and really in the Midwest and Christian hip hop to really, one of the first around Indiana and the Midwest to really make my age group of Christian hip hop realize that it wasn't corny.
It can be marketable.
Yeah, like you hear Jay-Z, you hear T.I., you hear Kanye West, 50 Cent. I'm naming cats I came up off of. You hear Nas, or even cats now, J. Cole, the Kendrick Lamar, the Futures, the Drakes. Like, yo, if you don't pay attention to my music, it's gonna sound just as relevant as what's on the radio. Like, it's not this corny choir roll music. Like, it's hard. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's hip hop. So, I've toured around the country. I've released several albums. 2016, I decided to stop going by the Messenger, and I went by my real name, Kyren Monteiro. 2016, I came out with an album called Crown. That was my debut under Kyren Monteiro. And then after that, I started working on this album you're talking about called Broken, which I believe is my best project that I've ever released. It's like my 9th or 10th project. And so I started working on that, and the concept of the album is just simply like, we're all imperfect people in an imperfect world, and we all need hope. Now, me personally, I believe that Jesus Christ is that hope at the end of the day. I'm not forcing that, and I'm not trying to shove that down nobody's throat, but that's what I look to as my source of hope, and that's what my faith, as far as my worldview and my theology and my soul lies. But even if you're not a Christian, and even if you don't rock with that worldview, it's still amazing music that you still can rock with at the end of the day. You still can appreciate it as a great art. So I came out with that album on November 29th, 2019. It was Black Friday of 2019. And I released the Keep My Distance video right at the top of 2020, started rolling out, and then the pandemic happened. And I was just going through some stuff personally already. And what the pandemic did to me mentally, I just shut down.
I'm sorry. Let's dig into that, how the last 2.5 years has really affected you personally, be it jabs, be it getting sick, being it navigating online, doing Zooms like this. Talk about things like that, how the virus and quarantine has affected your bottom line.
So 2020 was like the chisel year for me. Like I said, I was going through some things personally, in a marriage that I won't necessarily tap into on this platform, but I was going through things then. Me and my wife was rebuilding some things. So navigating that and trying to be just the best dad I could and best person and trying to grow from, personal problems like, struggles with women and, infidelity and things like that. I kind of talk about some of it on a song called Battling Demons on that Broken. Keep My Distances actually touches on a little bit of it.
Can you talk about that, though? Did you find yourself maybe moving away from God at a few degrees and living that alternate lifestyle?
For sure. For sure. 2016 to like the end of 2016 to 2019 was really all of my 20s. I found myself. My dad died in 2009. So throughout my 20s, I just found myself
wilding out.
Yeah, wilding out. Yeah, super wilding out. And just in that wilding out, I became a sex addict. I caught a legal case with an underage young lady who.
We don't even have to go into those things, but you know.
Yeah, I mean, these things are known in the community. I'm well known, so people know. I mean, I just went through my early, from like 21 to 29. I just had a span of rebellion, and I feel like Broken is what you really get. Like Broken, in a way, almost feels like my debut album. All the music I put out, it came out when I was 29, and it felt like it took 29 years to make that album. And so, I came out with that album, pandemic happened, and I'm just like, bro, what the hell? Like, I put 2.5, 3 years into this album. I literally took my time. Shout out to my guy, Johnny Lovely, who produced half of the album. Shout out to D-Time. Shout out to my dude, Big Beats, and everybody else who was a part of the music production, all the features. Shout out to my old manager, Ariel Anderson of Make It Make Sense management. Like, there were so many people who was instrumental. My guy, Dan Overby, with the graphics. My guy, David McKissick, with the photography. Like, to make an album on that level, it takes so much effort. Shout out to all of my wife for challenging me to be better during that process. Shout out to just people who just gave recommendations. I would have conversations with people on the streets. I would have conversations at old jobs I worked. I would have conversations with the homies, and that stuff made its way in on this project. Now, we've had people who release some amazing things, but I don't think there's ever been a hip-hop album from Marion, Indiana on the level of Broken.
Right down to what I love to hear is great production, you know what I mean? And levels, the mid, the bass, clarity, as far as the hi-hats and the crispness.
Are you, or have you been involved in music? Because you don't sound like just a normal fan. You sound like you got some experience yourself.
People that dabble, all the guys that we talked about earlier, just a few minutes ago, all my
Okay. With me being related, I'm a Monteiro, so being related to the Jacksons and the Joneses and Weatherlys, I got to, man, we all kind of related in a way. So, I mean, since I came under my dad, I'm 31. Yeah, I'm 31. I'll be 32 May 10th this year. But I kind of got an older soul, so yeah. So, in a way, I'll be feeling 42 almost instead of almost 32. But thank God I'm 32 because I still got that give me some youthfulness.
I was gonna say, bro, stay young as you can, boy. I'm a hair man. 50 on this birthday. I'm like, whoa, I can't believe it. But I was just 35, 32 like you, man. It goes so quick, bro.
You know what's crazy though, man? Going back, because I want to make sure I'm answering your question. I don't want to feel like I'm dragging this out, but Um,
Talk, baby. We just, you know.
you know what's crazy for me so in 2020 when the pandemic happened and I'm in the middle of my promo for Broken, I released a video to keep my distance. That was once again shout out to my former manager Ariel Anderson. Salute to Cambria who was the who was the female actress in that video, and salute to Jacob Guts who shot that music video. We did that off Virginia Avenue in Indianapolis, and it was dope, man. But all of that is happening, then the world shut down, and I'm just discouraged, bro, because I'm already in a music was one of the music and my daughter at that time was what was keeping me going, and so. When you took the music away and the ability to be able to do shows and all of that, it was recommended to me to just pivot to online, doing studio performances, do that. And I was in a mental space where I needed to meet people. I needed to be around good energy. So for the world to shut down and not be able to do that, I just wasn't prepared. And it was a lesson to me as a CEO as a music executive and as a recording artist. To step my game up in my weak areas. So, but hey, if that happened again, if it happened again, I'm ready for it.
What I love about the pandemic is it forced me to step back a little bit, and it made me go after my real dream, which is podcasting, interviews. I'm a big historian, so that's what I do. For me, I was thinking I do this because in the tapestry of Marion, there's like jigsaw pieces. And by me going through the history, one interview at a time, I'm actually filling in that jigsaw puzzle. The more interviews I do, by the time I'm done, the whole history is going to be right there to read. So that's kind of what the pandemic allowed me to do, is to step back, live what I really wanted to do. And I'm very glad of it. A lot of people have done that.
I was kind of prepared a little bit. I sat on house arrest 2 years and 3 months. So the world shutting down we all was on house arrest, but I ain't gonna even cap. I'm gonna keep it real. I was finding any reason to go to Walmart. I'm telling you, man. Hey, man, Walmart became the GOAT of retail stores during the pandemic. I mean,
started, they had the gates all the way out. You had to wear your mask on and all that.
But when I say like everything from groceries to the stuff you need at home, but I didn't even know that Walmart sell like designer cologne. Walmart was the spot. Meijer too, but Walmart was the plug. So like that, and I was still going to work. And then you asked how it affected, so at the frequency canvas got wiped out. And that was another part that was hard because my record label got affected completely, and then eventually my studio business did. And so 2021 was a comeback year for me and beyond. It was a rebuild year. It was like, I'm not gonna lie to you, man. It was kind of like middle finger to the pandemic, middle finger to all of the haters and people who wrote me off. It was kind of like
bounce back year, man.
It's like when Kobe won them 2 championships without Shaq.
Without you.
Yeah, it's kind of like when LeBron came back and brought the chip to Cleveland. You know, and I know a lot of people don't want to give me that, but let's be real. I'm the only, well, I guess you can say worship leaders. I'm one of the only 4 or 5 black men in Marion, Indiana, whose job is music and audio full time. Now, if you want to get into the studio side of it, I'm the only black man that is a recording artist, engineer, music producer, where this is my living full time. And I ain't saying that it comes with the most money being in Marion. I'm not bragging like I'm Zebo. You said what? Yeah, it definitely. But what I'm saying is that sometimes having the quote unquote top position ain't what it's all hyped up to be. It come with 100 times more hate than it does support.
I know it. I'm in my profession. It's I do a lot of coaching and personal training, and coaching and personal training. You know, a lot of people think that if you got your own facility, your own rent your own spot, that it makes you the best.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. And I put it to you like this: man needs an artist to come up out of here. Like I said, I don't know if we'll ever have a full rap scene, but we need two or three cats, and we got some lyrical geniuses around, man. We got some phenomenal artists, but I'm gonna be all the way real with you. Everybody else is allowed to be arrogant, but if I start to pop my, you know what, pop my stuff and talk my talk, or say I'm the best, then it's a problem. But everybody else can talk it. But I'm a talk it. There is no hip hop artist in Marion all the way around better than me.
All right, let's backtrack a little bit. Let's go back to the early days, the beginnings, the neighborhood you grew up in, some of the elementary schools that you went to, some of your early experiences in music and in the arts, and some of your early inspirations being in the drum line leader.
Okay. Okay, for sure. And I just say this, and I'm gonna regress. So I appreciate you saying that about Broken, because literally, as I was on the way here for this interview, I'm listening to it like I still need to get this, and I'm gonna do a shameless plug. I am doing a part 2 to Broken. I was gonna call it Broken 2, but I decided as of today, I'm gonna call it Still Hope. So you the first person to hear that. Yeah. So growing up, I grew up. In church, got saved about the age of 5. Majority of my life growing up, I spent on the north side. But if anybody knows about some of the Monteiro last names and Jones and Jacksons, they from the streets. So we definitely was down central, out south, out west. Definitely had different parts growing up. But as far as where my mom and dad lived, I grew up on the north side. So I went to Kendall Elementary for majority of my elementary years, went to Justice Middle School for middle school, then obviously Marion High School because we only got one. And I grew up at Greater Second Baptist Church. I'm still a member there. Technically, I've been a member since 5 or 6 because that's when I got baptized. But I grew up there under the musical leadership of Charles Bryant, who is a choir drill sergeant, a legend. And locally in that sense. They used to have the Crown Mass Choir. Greater Second used to have a legendary local choir back in the day. It was crazy. And so I grew up in church playing drums. I remember seeing this cool cat either from Ohio or Michigan, one of them, or some part of Indiana, maybe like Michigan City. And he was a super dope drummer. And I had always wanted to play the drums. And Greater Second didn't get a drum set yet. And when I tell you, this dude was so cold on the drums. Not only was he so cold, but his swag was crazy. Fresh, shaved dude with the one loop earring on the left ear like Jordan with the gold ropes. I mean, shoe game. Bro, he was just clean. And his skill set, I'm like, I want to be like that dude. Like, I want to be just like you. And I'm not going to even cap all of the women at church was crazy about the dude. I'm like, yeah, this is the dopest dude in the sanctuary right here. Now I know that ain't the most holy thing to say, but I'm just keeping it real with you. So after the service, I just ran up to him and wanted to play, and he gave me a pair of sticks. And I can't remember how long I held on to those sticks, but not too long after that, Greater Second got a drum set. And I always wanted to play, and I bugged him. Shout out to my guy Steve Woods because he was the primary drummer at that time. And one time he didn't show up to service, and they just came and got me from playing with the kids, and they was like, go play.
Starts.
Hey, keep in mind, I never had played in a church service before. I never had drum lessons, none of this. They literally gave me some sticks and said the piano player wanted me, Miss Brenda Chambers. They were like, Miss Chambers wants you, go play. And from there,
make movies out of that. When you're a success and you where you need to be, when they make a movie about your life, that will be a pivotal moment right
Man, I couldn't even sit down on the stool because my feet couldn't reach the pedals on the drum. I had to literally stand up and use the stool to prop me up so I wouldn't fall. I was literally standing up playing. And it grew from there. And then, like I said, my dad was a rapper. And so that showed me other ways of creativity because he was in the studio. And I seen him writing songs and recording. He was making beats. He had even wrote songs for other people at some times. And I'm just like, yo, I want to do all of this. I love drums, but I want to do all of this because when I looked at somebody like Dr. Dre did multiple things. Even like Manny Fresh and Timberland, they would get on hooks. Pharrell would get on hooks, and I was just like, I want to rap, but you know what? Yeah. So when I would mess with the little EQs on the keyboard and on the stereo. I tapped it. I wanted to help with sound when I could at church. I wanted to play drums. I wanted to make beats. I wanted to write. I wanted to perform my songs. I wanted to do everything. I just had that drive where it's like, I want to be that LeBron. I could play 1 to 5. You know, I don't want to be limited. And so, yeah, really growing up in church exposed me to music, man. And the black church has to get better at being more effective in the community. If you look at the civil rights movement, the black church dominated Black America.
It almost made it, and I know what you're intimating, but it almost made it, the church was the central hub of the Black community. And then, but it almost seemed around the Martin Luther King times that it wasn't, I think we may have got away from some of those things.
That's a whole nother podcast right there. Growing up in church, it exposed me to a lot of things, a lot of valuable relationships. My church got me my first recording studio. My church, I had to go through some fights, but I was able to play drums. And playing drums at church put me 50 million years ahead of kids at school when I got to band. So by the time, like, in middle school, I used to get into it with my band teacher. I was better than my band teacher was on drums.
Or Justice?
Justice, yeah, Mr. Ways, man. When I was in 6th grade band, I was on his tail. 7th grade, I was with him. 8th grade, I dominated. Yeah.
To the high school in the band there, being a drum major.
So I became head of drumline my junior year. My freshman and sophomore year, I was just in marching band, in drumline, in band. Freshman year, I stayed in the pit, and I stayed on the drum set because playing a snare was cool. You could either play, snare drum. You could play tenors, which is all of those things where you see the people, so quad of tenors, and then you have bass drums, and there's like 5 or 6 different size basses, like you see on drumline, just literally like drumline. And for me, I stayed on the drum set because I'm like, I literally can combine all of this. Like, staying on the snare was just whack. It's like one drum, and I didn't like it. My sophomore year, I transitioned off of the drum set, and my junior year, I was like, you know what? I play drums at church. I was playing in regular band, concert band. I was playing drums at the high school games and stuff. So I'm like, man, I want to do marching band. And so my junior and senior year, I was head of drumline. I even made up the little drum cadence we played at, little like in between football games, stuff like that. So my junior and senior year, the bands wasn't as good as my freshman and sophomore year. So I had to work with what I had, but hey man, it was still fun. It was fun.
Memories, just the pageantry of Marion, and as far as halftime at games and football games and basketball games, and I, I appreciate all the stuff that the band does because it takes coordination and movement, understanding where you're at and what you're doing.
High level marching band stuff is crazy. Like learning them charts and all of that is a skill set.
I love what FAMU does. I also love what like Ohio State does when they make those little figurines. But I love it. You know what I'm saying? A guy that's just gonna get up there and be wild too. I love that too.
Definitely, man. I definitely appreciate that. But all of the discipline and the mindset of musicality, discipline, I learned at church.
And we need to get our community back into the church. Get all the booty shaking and all the Dracos and AKs and ARs. And now it's good to have those things. I'm Second Amendment, sure, but in the wrong context, we're celebrating the worst common denominator of our society, and we're not uplifting the highest common denominators of our society.
I mean, man, when it comes to women twerking and stuff like that, I mean, it's really African culture. All women like to dance. All women, black women, are thick, developed. We are rhythmic people. You go back to Africa where people are fat. We're spiritual. We're fashionable. We're creative. We're entrepreneurial. Hip hop in its best form represents a lot of African ancestral display. So can we get rid of some stuff? Can we stop glorifying some stuff? Yeah, but I think we need to be more than what we are. If you do go to the club and have fun, okay, that's your business. But be more than that at the end of the day. Talk about how you went to school. Talk about how you running a business. Display how good of a mother you are. Display how good of a father you are. Let's be leaders. Like, you can do whatever you want to in your life at the end of the day, but I do think we forgot God, and I think that we have just glorified one part of the culture. And the culture is so much more at the end of the day. I don't think we can ever get rid of it, but I think that we need to highlight stuff at the end of it. But that goes back to corporate media. That goes back to corporate media glorifying.
Sell the positive music. They're going to sell the butt shaking, the pill popping, and the murder beats. It's the murder music. It's sad, but we've kind of wrapped ourselves into the cesspool of it.
But you know what? It's funny though because they're willing to do that for music that's black dominated, but you wouldn't do that with country. You wouldn't do that with rock and roll. You wouldn't do that with pop music that you label white, but they would do it with hip hop.
Turn you against yourself. Like,
yeah.
I heard a Dame Dash interview the other day where they would pay this cat more money if he would go against this cat in the rap game instead of working with that guy. And now they beefing.
I mean, look, I know this cat isn't a great lyricist, but even back in the day, Soulja Boy even said he wanted to make different kinds of music, but he was in a contract that forced a certain kind of creative control. T.I. has said on many, I've heard T.I., I don't know if it's Breakfast Club or whatever, but T.I. said, look, because T.I. is making more kind of like, he's more of a culture activist. He's more of an activist now. Yeah, for sure. And some people think it's taking him a long time, and it's like, look, I've been wanting to do this, but I was in a contract that kind of, they wanted the killing, they wanted the trap, all of that, and it's like, but still, you still choose to sign the contract.
Sign that thing if you want to. All right, let's go into this. Now, senior year, going into college or post life after high school, did you think about going to do anything in the music realm post high school, as far as college, doing
Yeah,
things?
so I've never been to college. I was going to go to International Business College, IBC in Fort Wayne. I didn't go because something told me just to stay back, and I'm glad that I did, because less than a year later, my father passed away from cancer in February 2009. So I graduated 2008. My first job, I was a bag boy at Atlantis North when it was open, now which is Ruler, right? But so I did that, and I just started putting them little whack. Boy, I used to work hard for them little whack checks, and I would just put it in music and start doing shows. And so ever since then, I mean, my journey has been just entrepreneurship and trying to chase dreams and build a vision up.
Nothing wrong with that, baby. Hey, I used to work at a store used to be named Mesa Supermarket on
I remember that.
32nd and Adams, across from Hook's drugstore. I
Yep,
worked
I remember.
7th grade all the way up to I was 21, and I loved them 4 years, baby. I loved them 4.5, 5 years.
Yeah, it was a fun job, man. I worked at Marsh right after Atlantis closed for.
Arch is an art, baby. He had to whip him like a snake, and the next thing you know, that thing go up in there. I used to love it, man.
See, one thing about me is I'm a competitive person, and I'm not gonna lie, I do got some narcissistic ways, and
I see my inner Kanye coming out sometime, man.
Hey, that dude was one of my idols, man, because he literally. Anyways, so I do have some I do have an ego. I can't be arrogant, but I am sincere, and I do want to see people win, and I do have a genuine heart, but I'm competitive, and so if I lock in on something, I'm gonna want to be the best at it. So one thing I loved about the grocery store, when I came in, they was giving me 10 hours a week. But I felt like I could outwork and do the job better than everybody there. And at Atlantis North, they didn't have the dairy section. You actually had to go to the cooler and drag it out with a dolly. It wasn't like Meijer or Walmart where you could stand behind. Like when I started working at Marsh, I was like, oh, this is easy. All I got to do is do. I literally had to carry. When I rotated, I literally had to take it all out, put it on the floor. It was, yeah. But you know what, man? I used to call it my whole wall. I used to keep that whole dairy section, eggs, milk, cottage cheese. Man, I used to keep that. And when customers came and messed it up, I was pissed. I used to get mad. But I outworked everybody, and my job was only supposed to get 10 to 20 hours a week. I stayed getting 40 hours a week, you know? And so I learned everything in the store that I wanted to learn. I learned how to do everything except being a cashier and work deli and bakery because I didn't want to. If I wanted to, they would have taught it to me. Yeah. I made goals. I was a bad boy. I said, you know what? Okay, I'm going to start working in frozen and helping on the stock crew. Did that. I said, you know what? I'm going to finesse my way into the meat department. Finesse that. Help with produce. So, like, it was basically I was doing what I had to do to get 40 hours. I might do 10 hours a week as a bad boy. As a bad grocery boy, I might do 20 hours a week. In meat department, I might do another 10 in produce and frozen. But I was just trying to get a little check. Because I knew that I was trying to I knew I had CDs to order, and I knew I had gas money and hotels to pay for to get for shows. Because when I started out, I had to do I didn't get paid. I was handing out, I would work 40 hours. Them little checks was only like $235, $250 a week. I would work 40 hours a week just to order CDs, hand them out for free, turn around and do the same thing.
But it paid off, and look where you at 15 years later. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it's still gonna have to pay off because I ain't where I want to be. But God is good though, for sure. I'm fortunate to be here. So there's plenty of other people who would trade me positions. You know what I'm saying?
Path going, hard work, nose to the grindstone. Keep moving, keep loving the Lord, keep pushing. So let's go into.
By the way, I want to say thank you for what you're doing. I don't think it. You know, for what you're doing, there's some other podcasts, but this is about your podcast. Shout out to everybody that got media platforms and podcasts. Shout out to the, paper and all of that because we need media outlets for people to be highlighted. So salute to you for doing this.
And I'm proud that people notice what I'm doing and appreciate It's not easy. Like I was saying earlier in our street talk, I've got some of the so-called Marion greats saying me no thanks. And I got other cats running Fortune 500 companies telling me they can't wait to do it again. So,
Well, I don't think that has anything to do with you. I think it has everything to do with them. You're not the because part of Frequency Canvas down here, I offer podcast services. And really we got a high-end mobile setup. We spent a couple of thousand on a high-end mobile setup. It comes with like 4 mics, 4 pair of headphones. We can come to people and then bring it back here, clean it up, send them to master so that they can be on Spotify or whatever. And what's funny about it is like when I'm talking to people are like, nobody's going to listen to me. I don't have enough to talk about. So people who appear confident, like, are some of the most insecure people.
so what do you think about mental health in the Black community?
I think that we are becoming more educated on it. I think there are more people speaking out about it. I think the Black community is starting to realize that we need to address it. More therapy. I think there's more therapy and more therapeutic things. I don't think therapy just comes from sitting on the couch or sitting in a chair talking to somebody. I think therapy comes through activities, meditating, spirituality and faith, different activities to clear our mind. Cutting people off is therapy. Protecting your energy is therapy. So if I know somebody's detrimental to my mental health and my well-being, I got to keep my distance. You know what I'm saying? And that's therapeutic. That's therapy. So therapy to me is anything in action that is beneficial to your mental health and your mental wellness. I think that's therapy, and I think it's therapeutic like. So in short, I think Black America is coming to terms with more mental health. I think we're addressing more generational things that have happened. I think more secrets are coming to the light, probably from people's past that they choose to expose to. I think we're dealing with trauma. I think we're dealing with tragedy. I think we're dealing with demons internally. I think we're addressing a lot. I don't think we've arrived. I think we got a long way to go. But I think we've come a long way, though.
Art is beginning to kind of chip away at some of that generational trauma that we've had, you know. Can you touch on that as we wrap up and things? The lack of focus on what's important in our community. We always look to the golden shiny trinkets. We always look for things that depreciate instead of things that appreciate. The self-hate within us has been ingrained in us. I'm going to get you sucker syndrome, you know. Could you touch on some of those negative things?
Yeah, man. So I think that we are people that have a lot of drive and passion, and when we want, we can zero in on vision. But a lot of times we put that in things that are detrimental. Let's be real. Any Black man or Black woman that is trapping, aka selling drugs, is probably some of the most genius business people on the planet. So I think that we just take, instead of focusing on that, I know and I don't have degrees in psychology and stuff like that, but I know when they talk about behavior modification and changes, like you can't just take a bad habit away and then not replace it with something. So as young Black men are trying to be entrepreneur out here, we can't just take the trap away from them and then say go work at a factory. So let's give these people visions. Let's if we're going to change, let's keep what's great about us and then convert that into beneficial things. Creating generational wealth and doing different things. Look, this is a message to Marion. RCA, Dana, the old Marion is never coming back. We need to be focused on future things. This is why I think Ronnie is great as a mayor, his vision for the city. We need to be forward thinking, we need to be forward progressive, and we need to get out of our old ways. If we want to build up a great community in Marion, Indiana, a great community is built up by great people. It can't just be political leaders, entrepreneurs, and different leaders in churches. It has to be everybody. On every level, everybody is accountable and responsible to making this place great.
Yes.
Period. That's everywhere. But I'm from Marion, Indiana, so I'm going to talk to us. Like, this is, if we want to make our community great, for our community to be great, we got to make it great. Yep. And by the way that we are now, Marion, we've already went from like 40, 50,000 down to 30,000. Yep. We're gonna be down to 10, 12,000 if we don't step it up.
Everybody's leaving, man. There's better opportunity other places, and
trust me, I know.
Yeah, and the people that are here are not replenishing what's left. It's sad, and it's a whole nother podcast, bro. I can't wait to come onto your platform and but we can chop it up, some different subjects, some different topics, you know.
For sure.
Because there's so much to talk about. I could literally talk for another hour or two on so many subjects that affect not only our community, as far as the Black community, but our community of Grant County and Marion, Indiana, the world. So for me personally, I'm thinking global. I'm thinking, how can I change the world? How can I I coach, and I coach thousands of kids. The ones that get me is the ones that I can't save. You know what I mean?
You can only do so much. You know, that's my struggle, you know, while I'm in Marion. And not just cats who are trying to do music, but just trying to be an example of, I'm an example that you can go through some things that a lot of people don't come back from and still chase the vision, still build it up, and still try to, you know, build the bag up and everything that you want to do in life. But the problem is that people lack focus, people lack discipline, people lack drive. Passion is overrated. Potential is overrated. It is about, if you want to make things happen, it has to be potential, and passion have to meet drive. You see what I'm saying? Passion and who gives a damn about, excuse my French, who gives a damn about potential? Who gives a damn about passion? If you don't have the discipline and the focus and the drive to make things happen, to execute, it's point. There's a book called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. It's called Think Rich, Grow Rich. I got it right back there. My dude Ronnie Morrell put me on to it. Actually, my dude Will Stump, Jamar Barnett, a.k.a. Will Stump, put me on to it first years ago. Ronnie put it back on my radar. And I got a notebook dedicated to that just for notes, because there's no way you could retain it all. It's on YouTube. There's like a 9-10 hour audio book on YouTube. It's called Think Rich, Grow Rich, or Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Go on YouTube after this interview, and all the viewers, y'all go look it up. It's free. You can go look it up right there. Or you can hit me up and I'll send you the link. Yeah, I'll send it to you. I definitely send it to you, and you could dish that out. But in that, they say that people say knowledge is power. They say no, only applied knowledge is power. If you look at any successful person, no matter what they do, athlete, rapper, Walt Disney, the dude who started Ford, I think his name is Henry Ford, on any level of success, all successful people, they got 4 key elements. And any one of them, they got a vision. The vision, goal, whatever you want to call. They got an idea. They got a vision in their mind that they see. Second, they got faith in that vision. Like undoubtable faith. When you seen Jay-Z in his Hall of Fame speech, he talked about how no label would sign him and all of that, but he said he never lost faith. Never once. He knew who he was. So they got faith. Yeah, they got faith. Number 3, they have a determined plan. And this is areas I struggle with, business plans, things like that. Micromanaging and having plans and being intentional about everything. They got plans. And then 4th, they execute all of that. Because if you execute, then all the other 3 get accomplished. Yeah, so you have to have those 4 things to be successful, man.
man. And a lot of the people need to hear those things. When is your next podcast coming up?
I'm not sure, man. Like I said, right now I'm just providing services. There are a lot of people locally and in different places who ask if I would do a podcast. The last couple of years I've wanted to do the Kyren Monteiro podcast. It will happen, but timing is everything. I just got my hands full. Started a new digital distribution company. I'm trying to work on some new music. Like I want to do a follow-up to Broken. I got a new single called Every Time featuring my guy Johnny Lovely, who's from here. This is probably the most non-Christian song I've done. It's really more just it's motivational, it's inspirational. It's not explicit, it's clean. But I'm gonna really try to shout that out to ESPN and some different places. I'll send it to you. I'll let you hear it. Off the record. It's fire. It's crazy. And so yeah, man, I wanna get back and continue helping build the community up while I'm here. So you know, what'd you say, fam? Yeah. I want to stay here as long as I can, and as long as it's beneficial for me and my family. But the stagnancy of Marion is detrimental for great people.
It has to grow. We have to help it to grow.
Man, if you care about Marion, make it grow. If people in our community care about it like we say we do, then right now, not when you get more money, when you get more talent, when you get more right now. If you don't have the drive and the vision, get under somebody and support somebody who does. Everybody want to be CEOs. Everybody getting LLCs now. Everybody bosses. Everybody can't be CEOs. Everybody can't be Mike. Somebody got to be Scotty. Somebody got to be Dennis. Somebody got to be Phil Jackson. Somebody got to be in the front office. Somebody got to be the owner. Everybody can't be the boss. Everybody want to be the face of something. You need a team. Yeah. You need a team. So, that's my message to the people, man. For all the recording artists and anybody needing audio services, contact us at frequencycanvas.com. You can follow us on social media at Frequency Canvas on all platforms. Myself personally, you can go to KyrenMonteiro.com. Follow me at Kyren Monteiro on all social media platforms. If you want to just shoot me a quick email, info@KyrenMonteiro.com. Frequency Canvas, we have public information, engagerecords.net. If you follow me, you can kind of keep up to what I'm into.
Also, make sure people tout your YouTube page. It's got all your music on there.
Yeah, search Kyren Monteiro on YouTube and different things will come up, or you can Google Kyren Monteiro. Check out my latest album, Broken. You can search me on Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, wherever you listen to music at. You can go buy merchandise on my website. So my latest album, Broken, if you want the CD of that or you want like 12-inch vinyl, you can go to KyrenMonteiro.com and get that on special order. And or just contact me personally. We can make it happen. And yeah, we just trying to be great, man. I'm trying to work on a follow-up to Broken called Still Hope.
Hey, thank you for coming on my platform, Kyren, and we hope that we can get more business for Frequency Canvas and get more people, whether it be in Grant County or out throughout the country and world, patronize what you do, man.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm just one person on the spectrum trying to make it grow. But my challenge to this community is, and these will be my last words: if we want man to be greater, we got to become greater. If we want a great community, we got to make it a great community. I hear people talk about how whack man is. I hear all of these complaints about what we don't have. But I see very little hands and feet moving to make happen what we don't have. Man, people are always talking about what we don't have. Then when we get it, we don't want to support it. We don't have high-end studios. And I waited years. I could have been did this. There's even to the point where we bought a property to go do this. I could have been did this. But every time I make a move, I would be like, man, we're not ready. And I was right. The community is still not ready. But if I wait on people, But if I wait on people to get better, I'll be waiting forever.
Or get them motivated, get that thing up there, get the frequency canvas and the things that you provide out there to people to get that business moving.
You got to come check it out one day, man. It's dope.
We get our schedules together, we'll come down and check you out, man.
Yeah, you gotta come check it out. My thing is when God gives you a vision, you gotta execute it. You gotta no matter what the haters say, no matter what roadblocks come with it, greatness is gonna come with haters. Greatness is gonna come with roadblocks. I've been through things that would shut a lot of people down, but I'm still here fighting. So if I could be here fighting, why can't you be here fighting? There's been people who've been through way worse things than me, and they still pushing every day. They still being great. So why can't everybody has greatness inside of them? It's up to you to tap into it. You know what I'm saying? Lean on God, execute your vision, and don't give up. And don't listen to what nobody say. Tune them people out. At the end of the day, people don't define you. People can't put expectations on you and a standard on you. They can't even hold up to their own expectations. People judge you and got 100 skeletons in their closet. People talk about you and got a whole bunch of stuff that they don't want to gossip about. You know what I'm saying? Who the hell are you to judge people? You judge yourself.
Those who live in a glass house should not throw stones, baby.
Yeah, for sure, man. Salute to all the entrepreneurs around here, man, that are doing their thing, man. All of the I'm not gonna start naming because it's too many people, but salute to everybody in the city that's trying to make it better. And salute to everybody that's going to continue to hop in and make it better. So there's a lot of people out here that's on the fence. For all them people, say that, my bad, bro.
All work together.
Man, that's a part two.
Part two. We're gonna end it right now. Hey, have you on soon, brother. God bless you.